Nobody was ever supposed to hear that line. Not outside that dimly lit studio where whispers turn into songs and secrets find melodies. But the moment the track leaked, the internet cracked open like a pressure valve. Millions leaned in, not just to listen, but to investigate like crash site tourists desperate to comb through wreckage for proof, for guilt, for grief. The lyric that lit the match was obvious enough. We both know that he loves me, and TikTok's amateur detectives clung to it like gospel, freeze-framing, dissecting, syncing timelines with old clips. But what almost no one noticed was the quieter blade beneath the obvious one. I met his parents. Just 9 words. But they didn't land like lyrics. They landed like evidence. Suddenly, 6 years of red carpet fairy tales snapped in half. Laptops glowed at 3 a.m. as fans pieced together digital timelines like forensic analysts, matching tour dates, birthdays, press appearances. And in the middle of that firestorm, a darker question began to simmer. Did Justin promise forever? To someone else before he ever slid that ring onto Hailey's finger? Park that thought, because if you think that was the climax, you're only standing in the ashes. The real fire is just getting started. Flashback, summer 2010. The kind of afternoon that only feels important years after it's over. Inside a warm, window-fogged IHOP tucked away in Hollywood, a teenage Justin Bieber sits in a booth across from Selena Gomez. Not yet a global headline. Not yet a tangled love story, just 2 kids in love, laughing like they've got nothing to protect. A waitress watches quietly as Justin carves a crooked little heart into his syrup-soaked pancake. And Selena throws her head back, laughing like the ceiling just vanished. It wasn't a date, not really. It was a time stamp. A ghost. A snapshot that would later be pulled apart in fan threads and interview montages, played back like it held the code to everything that followed. Now, fast forward 8 years. 2018, different season. Different girl. A courthouse in Manhattan, where Justin slips a Tiffany ring onto Hailey Baldwin's finger behind closed doors. The world doesn't get served this time, no giggles. Just paperwork, a contract, the same gesture repeated. But this time the moment isn't soft, it's sealed, branded, public. Somewhere between those 2 scenes, one soaked in sweetness, the other cloaked in glass, something had ignited. A fuse had been lit quietly, buried beneath denial, reshaped into silence. It didn't explode back then, it just waited. Years passed. Lives shifted. And then, like a match finally dragged across the box, don't take it personally, dropped. Not with a bang. With a whisper, it crept into streaming platforms as track 13, buried in the middle of an album like an apology hidden in a diary. No billboard tease, no PR frenzy. Just a quiet release, almost as if it hoped not to be found. But secrets like that never stay buried, not when they're sung in that voice. Within half an hour of the song's debut, Spotify's algorithm picked up something unusual, a sudden surge. Bigger than any paid promo could have bought. The kind of movement that only comes when hearts start syncing up across continents. Within 90 minutes, TikTok detectives were already information matching lyric rhythms to old paparazzi clips, stitching emotional timestamps into viral evidence boards. Then came the thread that detonated fandom servers across the internet. A fan swore the melody matched Selena's performance from the 2013 UNICEF Gala. The same tone. The same cadence. And just like that, a new theory emerged. This wasn't just a new song, it was an old wound. A time capsule. A confession recorded in another lifetime and released like a spell. And just when things couldn't feel more surreal, Selena appeared on Instagram Live. No glam squad. No press setup. Just her in dim light, framed by the soft glow of a bedside lamp and the cool blur of a front-facing camera. Her hair was undone, the background silent. She scrolled through the comments slowly, like she was listening to the questions more than reading them, like she was waiting for someone to ask the right one. Then she spoke, calm, clear, and devastating. Some stories are ours to keep. That was it. 7 words. No direct mention of the song, no confirmation, no denial. Just an open-ended riddle left hanging in the space between her and the internet. A lyric? A truth? A dare? Comment sections erupted into wildfire. Was she denying authorship or inviting us to figure it out for ourselves? Inside her label's war room, the mood was anything but calm. Junior marketers whispered. Words like legend. Legal advisors muttered things like liability. Meanwhile, outside that glass office, the internet was in a frenzy. Comment sections had turned into courtroom transcripts. Fans were quoting her 7-word line like it was scripture. And just hours after Selena's quiet live, Hailey Bieber posted a mirror selfie. Simple, soft lighting, fresh manicure, calm expression. But the devil was in the detail under her thumbnail, a faint red scratch. No one noticed it at first. But when a stan account zoomed in and posted it, it went viral. In minutes. Was it just a kitchen accident? A nervous habit? Or something deeper clawing its way out? Theories bloomed like mold in a locked room, and as usual, there were no answers, only whispers. And the internet has always had a taste for whispers, especially the unanswered ones. But then something strange happened. Something that hit harder than any lyric ever could. 45 seconds of silence. That's how long Selena sat motionless on her live before ending the stream. No closing. No wave, just the hum of stillness. And those 45 seconds? They felt longer than an entire album cycle. Fans watched the silence like it was a message. Meanwhile, Hailey's PR team fired off a cold, one-line email announcing the sudden cancellation of her brand launch livestream. Scheduling conflict. That's all it said. But the cancellation trended harder than the product ever did. And the internet didn't just notice, they devoured it. Suddenly, the feud felt alive again, not because of insults. Not because of drama, but because of the silence. The way each woman chose stillness like a weapon. A quiet refusal to clarify, to correct, to calm. And in that silence, fans made noise. The timeline cracked open again, dragging everyone back to 2019. Lose You to Love Me skyrocketed to #1 overnight. Critics called it closure in raw form. Selena, crying in stark black and white, broke 1,000 hearts at once. And just minutes later, Hailey posted Summer Walker lyrics. A coincidence? Maybe, but not to the internet. Fans screamed copycat. Accusations flew. That was round 1. Round 2 was quieter but sharper. A lullaby lined with surgical calm and veiled aggression. You probably got a dartboard with my face. No breakdown, no emotion. Just an eerie composure. The battlefield had morphed into a chessboard. Every move was subtle, calculated, silent, and somewhere in the middle of it all was the question no one could answer. Was this war still real? Or had it become something else, an algorithmic loop none of them could escape? Picture this. It's midnight and Hailey Bieber is alone in a room that's anything but quiet. Her phone is vibrating every 2 seconds, notifications piling up, snake emojis slithering through comment threads, accusations blinking like emergency lights. Marriage was a heist, someone tweeted. She's been playing the long game since church youth group. In that moment, Hailey double taps her cousin's baby photo. Then she exhales, hits record on TikTok, and says just 3 words. Leave me alone. 10 seconds. Millions of views. Zero relief. The responses were immediate and vicious. Some claimed she staged it for sympathy, others called it a breakdown in real time. But the part nobody noticed? Her plea landed just 3 minutes after Selena's song hit #1 on iTunes. Coincidence? Or the same gravity well pulling them both in again? That's when the fan theories exploded. Not with nuance, but with venom. Reddit threads turned into crime scene investigations. Matching tattoos were suddenly not sweet, but suspect. White dresses? Strategic. Cooking shows? Copied. One viral post painted Hailey as a decade-long mastermind, strategically weaving herself into Justin's world like a long con dressed in Sunday service. The rebuttals came fast, fans reminding everyone that childhood crushes don't equal obsession, that overlapping trends don't prove manipulation. But every defense became a new piece of evidence. Every denial was twisted into an admission. The court of public opinion doesn't run on proof, it runs on pattern recognition. And it doesn't allow recess. Screenshots became subpoenas. TikToks were used like video depositions. Even interview clips got spliced into side-by-sides with both women saying, "I just want people to feel safe." That soundbite alone hit 80 million views in 48 hours. Psychology majors called it pattern-seeking bias. Stans just called it receipts. And somewhere between those two extremes, the truth started to drown. The noise got so loud that exhaustion set in, but obsession doesn't sleep. Insiders claim that Selena and Benny Blanco finished the track in a 30-minute burst of inspiration after hearing a friend's heartbreak story. Studio logs showed the session overlapped almost perfectly with Justin and Hailey's anniversary. Getaway, same week, different coasts. Fans didn't care if it was planned. They declared it poetic revenge. A masterstroke of timing, but reality? Clearing masters takes months. Songs don't move that fast. Grief does. Imagination does. But truth? Truth drags behind like a shadow no one wants to turn around and face. March 2023, Eyebrow Gabe. 2 back-to-back stories seemingly unrelated ignite like gasoline. Selena laughs on TikTok, her brows brushed upward in a messy, almost accidental way. Hours later, Kylie Jenner posts a selfie zoomed in on her own. Brows. Hailey joins in, resharing the story with a cryptic emoji. It should have been nothing, but fans made it everything. Within hours, TikTok exploded. Theories spread faster than the facts. Suddenly, Hailey wasn't just a wife, she was a villain. The internet crowned her manipulative, calculating, obsessed. Comment sections became trial rooms, and the jury had already made up its mind. Hailey's social feeds were flooded with death threats, direct messages that said she should disappear. People started digging into old photos, tweets, friends' posts. Nothing was safe. Every smile was an accusation. Every silence, a confession. Selena, seeing the storm swirl into something darker, stepped in. She posted, "No one should face bullying." 7 words again, just like before. Fans praised her, called it grace. But critics whispered another word: strategy. And in a world ruled by algorithmic morality, even kindness looked suspicious. By sunrise, the apology was old news. People had already moved on to dissecting Hailey's latest nail polish post. Mirror test time, fans screamed she's obsessed, while they meticulously archived Hailey's grocery lists, nail shapes, and selfies. The same people accusing her of copying were recreating Selena's outfits on resale apps. The obsession wasn't coming from Hailey anymore, it was coming from inside the house. But self-awareness rarely trends. Flashback again, Bahamas. 2018, the night Justin proposed. A golden sunset melts over the horizon as he slips a Tiffany ring onto Hailey's finger. But what most people forget or never even saw was the Snapchat leak from just hours before. Justin pacing along a dock, murmuring lyrics from an unreleased track. One clear line: when you know, you know. Fans immediately pulled out receipts. Selena had posted that exact phrase 2 summers earlier. Was it a coincidence? A message? A ghost in the chorus? Weeks later, paparazzi lenses caught something no one could explain. Through the curtains of Soho House, Justin sat with his head buried in his hands, visibly crying. Hailey beside him, rubbing his shoulders. Frame by frame, body language analysts dissected the footage. A furrowed brow meant grief. Tension in his shoulders meant regret. The verdict? Micro-expressions that pointed to unfinished business with an X. Headlines spun it into a tragic romance. Talk show therapists weighed in with hot takes. Twitter lit up like a courtroom gallery, but the only 2 people who knew the truth said nothing. And that silence? It started to grow fangs as the silence. Between all 3 of them deepened, the fans got louder. And smarter. And stranger. By late 2023, this wasn't just drama, it was a full-scale digital excavation. Subreddits turned into command centers. Threads cross-referenced flight manifests with hotel check-ins. Discord groups hired astrologers to compare birth charts. Spotify lyrics were scraped by bots for hidden initials. Screenshots became gospel. People weren't just watching anymore, they were investigating. And at the center of all this obsession wasn't just a love triangle, it was the illusion of access. The belief that, with enough digging, anyone could find the real truth. Buried in a blurry paparazzi photo or an old IG caption. What began as heartbreak had metastasized into collective madness. One group even published a Google spreadsheet titled, "Proof Hailey Stole Selena's Identity." It had 9 tabs. 80 columns, fonts color-coded by emotional tone. A counter thread titled, "Empathy, Why Hailey Deserves Grace," hit the front page of a fan forum the next day and got locked by noon due to fighting in the comments. That's where we were now. Not in a feud between two women, but in a digital arena built by millions of strangers projecting their loneliness, rage, and longing into a story they didn't own. The real Selena was battling lupus flares and mental health spirals. The real Hailey was facing public panic attacks, sleepless nights, and tabloid-driven meltdowns labeled diva behavior. And Justin? He was still weathering his own storm substance. Scares, canceled tours, mental resets. But none of that mattered to the internet. Pain was just another storyline. Crisis was another episode. People had stopped seeing humans. They were watching characters die in early 2024. An unconfirmed rumor slipped through. Selena and Hailey almost crossed paths at a bridal shower in Malibu, a shared friend, one event. One seating chart that got shuffled at the last minute. A potential. Face-to-face, crisis averted. But the fan response said it all people weren't relieved. They were disappointed. They wanted the moment. The confrontation. A hug, maybe? A scream. Anything. Because the feud had become bigger than the people inside it. It wasn't even about them anymore. It was about us, the audience. Our hunger for conflict. Our addiction to mystery. Our refusal to let the story end. Late 2022, My Mind and Me drops on Apple TV+. A documentary meant to offer clarity, closure, maybe even peace. Selena's fans were told this would be a window into her healing. What they got was something much harder to watch, raw hospital footage, handwritten lyrics scrawled in pain, the quiet shattering of a public life lived too long without boundaries. There were sudden tears, whispered doubts, text threads blurred for privacy, but not enough. One thread in particular caught fire, labeled simply, H. That single initial lit another match. Directors denied it was linked to Hailey. Publicists rushed to explain, but fans didn't want denials. They wanted direction. And in the absence of answers, they filled the silence with fire. Because in the age of parasocial loyalty, vulnerability isn't protection, it's fuel. Every tear became evidence. Every pause became proof. A TikTok filter went viral days later, one that merged Selena and Hailey's faces into a single composite. Caption, what Justin sees when he wakes up. It was meant to be funny. But imagine being either of those. Women scrolling past that horror on a random Tuesday morning. 10 minutes after it trends, Hailey likes a puppy video. Selena posts a meditation reel. Two women trying to live, to breathe, to scroll like the rest of us. But the joke keeps spreading. The filter keeps duplicating. Even when the song fades. The noise DOESN single quotes T.70-2 hours after Don't Take It personally climbed the charts. Radio stations start receiving anonymous calls. Celebrate the track but skip the triangle commentary. Spotify data analysts begin arguing over user behavior. Were people skipping tracks because they were tired? Or because the drama kept them coming back only to turn away in guilt? Behind closed doors, the answer didn't matter. What mattered was engagement, metrics, momentum. The internet had built a stage with no exit, and everyone, fans, labels, even the artists, were trapped inside its machinery. On the fan side, things got even darker. Moderators of the largest Selena fan forum banned 800 users in one morning for harassment and obsessive behavior. A day later, someone posted a spreadsheet titled When Hailey Copies Selena, A Decade of Evidence. It hit the front page in hours. By noon, it was locked for safety concerns. Comment sections were no longer conversations, they were jury boxes without judges. No rules, no recess. Just trial after trial after trial. Eyebrowgate had a sequel, no surprise. These stories never really end, they just evolve. A Vogue outtake dropped showing Selena's brows, lifted in bold, caught under the perfect studio light. Just 2 days later, Hailey's skincare campaign. Launched, same lighting, same angles. Side-by-side GIFs flooded TikTok like twin apparitions. 10 million views before the brand's official post even crossed 5 figures. The algorithms didn't separate intention from coincidence. They blended both into drama. Chaos leaked into other fandoms. Rihanna stans, Taylor Swift threads. Even Lana Del Rey's loyalists jumped in. The feud had become cross-genre, cross-platform, a culture-wide phenomenon. Brands whispered terms like organic overlap. Therapists whispered things like digital codependency. But nothing could stop the current. Every echo added More noise. Every pattern, no matter how small, got swallowed into the mythos dot, then came the whispers. The ones from inside the industry. Lore passed through studios like cigarette smoke. Someone claimed Justin had handwritten a letter to Selena in late 2018, an apology folded and sealed but never sent. Word was it still lived tucked in. A guitar case in a storage unit somewhere in LA, no one had seen it. No one could prove it. But when "Don't Take It Personally" dropped in that lyric, "We both know that he loves me" floated through speakers like a ghost with unfinished business. Insiders began asking, was this song a reply? A final word? Or worse? Message meant only for one set of ears, broadcast to millions? PR teams scrambled. There were rumors of a peace offering, a joint podcast appearance, a surprise charity gala, even a glossy cover shoot that would reframe everything finally. End it, but every idea collapsed before it got out of the room. Too many security concerns. Too many brand conflicts. And underneath all of it, one brutal truth: controversy sells. Closure doesn't. A feud is a machine. And machines hate surrender. In the studio, engineers revealed one last detail. When mixing the track, Selena reportedly requested that the dartboard line, the one fans latched onto, be recorded dry. No reverb, no echo, no production gloss. A whisper with nowhere to hide. Emotional minimalism as sonic warfare. When someone warned her it might polarize listeners, she apparently smiled and said, "Let them feel awkward. That means it's working. That's where we are now." Not in a feud, but in the aftermath of one, and the aftershock isn't loud. It's quiet, calculated. Haunting. 1 week after the song's release, Google reported a spike in searches for how to stop obsessive thoughts. The same regions fueling the feud were now searching for relief. Mental health apps bought ad space under trending hashtags. Instagram follower counts for both women leveled off. Neither won the algorithm, but YouTube reaction channels banked record watch hours. Whispering takes like victory chants in digital echo chambers. One video claimed Selena had ended the feud without raising her voice. Another said Hailey had been the victim all along, but both missed the point. The real power wasn't in who spoke louder, it was in who walked away without swinging. Please don't take it personally. We both know that he loves me. That line wasn't a jab. It wasn't revenge. It was a lullaby. A verdict wrapped in grace. Selena didn't scream. She didn't fight. She whispered, and in doing so, she rewrote the script. Not with blood, with silence. With a song so soft it forced people to listen. The genius wasn't in the attack. It was in the restraint. In the refusal to let pain become theater. And what about Hailey? Will she ever step out from under the microscope? Or has the lens become part of her skin now, welded into every move, every breath, every post? And Justin, did he stream the song alone, headphones on at midnight, dissecting the lyrics with trembling hands? Or did he sit beside his wife, dissecting each verse like a shared wound they never asked for? The biggest mystery, though, wasn't what the song meant. It was who gave Selena the story in the first place. The heartbreak that sparked the recording session. Was it really a friend's tale or her own? Now, this is the part that broke people wide open. A rumor surfaced that Selena's next single features a female guest. The name hasn't been confirmed, but bets are stacking. Some say it's Hailey. That it's real. That it's a shock duet designed to nuke the feud once and for all. Absurd? Maybe. But in this saga, coincidence never limps. It always comes back roaring. The credits roll. Picture arena lights dimming after the final encore. Crew members sweep up glitter. Set lists are archived. Microphones unplugged. But the air still crackles. Like something unfinished still lingers. Fans refresh their feeds before sunrise. A podcast producer drafts an emergency episode. Brand managers quietly rewrite skincare ad copy just in case. Because the internet never sleeps, and neither do the questions. Strip away the edits. Forget the receipts. What's left are two women, both trying to breathe. One married, one engaged. Both scarred in places no lyric can reach, and maybe that's the point. Maybe some stories are too big to end, maybe they were never ours to tell. In the end, Selena whispered goodbye. Hailey begged the jury to disperse. But the crowd still chants, still speculates, still scrolls. While the real people, the only ones who know the truth, have already slipped through the side door. And here's what nobody caught. The echo they leave behind doesn't belong to them anymore. It belongs to us.